All right, these are the waste notes for Chapter 19. It's just all of Chapter 19, so title them waste. These should be fairly quick. It's really basic information. All right, so we're looking at the different types of waste. Make sure that you write these 4 down. You need to know the difference. Municipal waste is our waste. This is ours. Sorry, I haven't calibrated the board yet, so it's going to look a little funky. Industrial waste, that's going to be from factories, agriculture, mining, and I don't have factories on here, so I'm going to put it. Factories. Oh my gosh, this is awful. Sorry. Hazardous waste, this is the toxic, the reactive, the flammable, and the corrosive. If you don't know those 4 words, you need to know. Need to, oh my goodness, need to know 4 words. Yeah, I know you're laughing at me right now. That's fine. And then wastewater. This is our discarded water and the general runoff that we use. All right, I'm going to change slides. Sanitary landfills, you need to know what sanitary landfills are. This is an amazing picture of a sanitary landfill. They're designed to prevent the groundwater contamination and to minimize pollution. And if you look, it doesn't just look like a big dump. On top, you can see random buildings, and then it looks like a big dump, but there's stuff underneath that we can't see. So what you think might be a dump may actually be a sanitary landfill. Things to look for would be a recovery pond, the tower, as well as the methane gas recovery well. All right, change slides. Make sure you have this down. All right, benefits and costs for this. Benefits are that we can produce the natural gas, which are the tower that you saw. And when they're done, they can be capped off and reused again. There's a landfill over by my house in Detroit that was capped off and used for a mire. They just recently built a mire on top of it in like the last 5 years. But it was capped off for many, many years because they had to make sure that it was safe. Because trash decomposes very, very slowly. Even though we say it's biodegradable, we need to know how long it was. And then another one of the costs is the leachate. Yep, don't know how to pronounce that word. Leachate. That's yep. I'm gonna go Spanish on that one. And it can contaminate the groundwater. Incineration is another way that we can deal with the trash. They dump it into the chamber. A crane comes to pick it up. It's burnt in the boiler. The ash is disposed of. The broiler that can boil the water and the gas is used to produce a turbine to create electricity, so it actually will create energy for us. And then any of the gas that can't be used is then scrubbed out, it's cleaned up, and excess methane and whatnot is burned off. So that's why you'll see an eternal fire at some of the places, at some of the incinerators. So incinerator can be fairly clean and it helps to produce electricity. We're going to look at a video of that on Monday. Go. All right, costs. You have the leftover ash. The benefits of the fact that a lot of the waste is reduced by 70% weight and 90% volume, and it generates the electricity. So they're pretty good benefits for just a little bit of toxins when you have energy being produced. All right, minimizing the waste. Waste reduction methods. Okay, reduce, reuse, recycle. We know that. But the big thing now, the big issue now is not reduce, reuse, recycle. It's not to produce waste to begin with. Don't have to reduce it, don't have to recycle. It's that we don't have to produce the waste. So a lot of this is kind of old method. We're trying to create new things that won't make waste. But if we are going to make waste, we want to make sure that we donated the unwanted ones, that we reduce it, that we reuse it. Yeah, that's stuff you've learned in elementary school. Moving on. All right, composting is a huge thing. It helps a lot if you're a gardener. Some people sell their compost to other gardeners, and we're going to do composting right after the spring break. So composting is when you're going to take organic wastes and create dirt. We're actually going to make soil from it. You have to do this with natural organic foods as well as wormies. So yes, I'm going to bring worms into school. Waste recovery with recycling. We have an amazing recycling program here at school, and we have one in the city. So the recycling rates, they vary depending anywhere where you are at, 5 to 50%. California is actually the #1 state for recycling. They recycle practically everything, like 95% of all of their garbage. All right, hazardous wastes. We've talked a little bit about this, so you should know ignitable and toxin, but I want you to write down corrosive and reactive because I don't know if you know those exactly. And then you need to make sure that you recognize the symbols, that the symbols, you have corrosive, you have flammable, and then you have toxic. Sources of the hazardous waste, that varies a lot. A lot of times it's going to be industry. And then the household hazardous waste is actually really dangerous because of the quantity. Everybody uses household hazardous waste, and it's not regulated. We're not disposing of it properly. People are not using those disposal sites on Saturdays. All right, I do want you to write these down because these are the types of waste that you need to know of. There's the organic one, which they can be the mutagens, the carcinogens, and they can cause bodily harm to us. Heavy metals, they can cause neurological damage. And then e-waste. This is the waste that is produced from all of our electronics. That's why it's called e-waste. And if you look at a picture to the right, you can see this is all of the electronic waste that we've had, and part of the issue is where do we put it, where does it go? And usually 95% of it can be recycled, but it's not, and that's part of the issue with e-waste. All right, change the slides, make sure you have this all down. Waste disposal. When you're looking at hazardous waste, one of the things that I want you to know is the deep well injection. I thought this one was a little fishy when I first looked at it because you're injecting the hazardous waste back into the porous layer of rock. I'm pretty sure that this porous layer is going to be the shale because this is the impermeable soil, but I don't think this is down far enough based on the picture because here's the aquifer. So I think this might be not a full mile. I think shale may be down further. So I don't, personally, if we're going to do deep well injection, I think that they should do it further. I don't think that it's down far enough. Radioactive waste, waste that gives off harmful radiation. Radiation can cause intense damage to the body as well as cancer. And radiation is usually given off by factories and nuclear power plants. Superfund. Superfund was part of the cleaning up the hazardous waste. The whole cradle grave thing is talking about when the hazardous waste is created, tracking it all the way to the grave so that we know everywhere that it's been, we know everything that it's touched, so that we know how it's affecting us. But the Superfund sites, there's ones that is where hazardous waste has been disposed of. So it's usually really, really bad to walk on there. You need to have a hazmat suit and everything else. So the Superfund Act was the program for cleaning up those sites. This is a huge thing where a lot of money has been put into it because it's causing so many issues with our health in the cities that surround a Superfund. Oh, that's it. Woohoo! We're done. Make sure you go back. Make sure you have all 13 sentences. There should be 13 minimum. If you're writing down the other stuff I highlighted, then you should have anywhere between 15 and 17, which I would suggest doing. This will be a very short section. We have the test over this on the 28th of March.